All right, and then mic for the president. Thank you. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, I know it's fine. Just put the seat here. Mwema, you can come sit here. Yeah. Okay. Karibu, Chairman Mwema. So, Your Excellency, in this country, we are implementing a wonderful program. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw you being very emotional when you handed over the keys in Nakuru. It's probably one of the, to quote your words, you said, in your adult life and in your political life, it was the most consequential day of your life. I want you to kick us off by really just rehashing why that moment, Your Excellency, was the most consequential moment of your political and adult life.
Thank you very much, Charles. Good morning, everybody. Oh, sorry. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And welcome to this session. And my friends here, karibuni sana. As I said at that moment, and I mean it, that this is a journey that we have been engaged in as a nation. This journey we started at independence when we passed the first law on housing. It is at that moment that other countries passed the law on housing. Many countries have made huge progress. Singapore, Malaysia, other countries have made huge progress. We didn't make as much progress as a country. We have, successive governments have tried to implement this housing program. We went through different phases. We called it at some point slum upgrading, you know, to try and deal with this challenge. We tried, and we were not very successful as a country. I remember when, as deputy president, we tried as the Jubilee administration, part of our Big Four program was housing. And you remember, Charles, that my predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, told me, I have a very good professional in South Africa. And you remember we came for you from South Africa.
Correct.
You had a good job. But we told you, you have a country called Kenya, which is your home. And you were kind enough to leave the job you had, much more paying than what we were paying you, but for country, you came and joined us. And we tried then to get this program underway, but again, we weren't very successful. When I got the opportunity and the chance and the privilege to be president, I said, this is one thing amongst the many things I want to do. And because it is the right thing to do. We have said here, I've had the country director talk of World Bank. And all the statistics point to a future that is urban. And we have no choice about that future being urban. But we have a choice on what type of urban future we are going to have. Are people going to live in informal settlements? Are they going to live in slums? Or they are going to live in planned, dignified shelter that has dignity? And so, because Kenya is urbanizing, we've just been told by the country director of the World Bank, among the highest in the world, 4.3%. 50% of our population will be living in urban centers by 2050. Maybe 30, maybe 35 million Kenyans, maybe 40 million Kenyans will be living in urban centers by 2050. And many people ask me, Who told you that Kenyans need houses? Why are you pushing this agenda of housing? You know, maybe you are pushing it for other reasons. But I have a simple answer. The answers, the statistics answer them. Kenya is urbanizing, the highest rate, some of the highest rates in the world. We will have 30, 40 million people living in urban centers. If we don't plan about it, we will be living in squalor, as many of our citizens are doing. Secondly, you have citizens that are living in subhuman conditions today. Go to any informal settlement. Nakuru, Soweto, you know, the famous Kibra, you know, just outside this hotel here, Karagita, just here, you have 10,000 people living in a small place. Go down to Molo. You know, I was in Molo and I felt very bad. You have close to 10,000 people living in a small place. You know, you have children staying in little houses with their parents. We had a confession from Kibra. It is the same in Kasarani right here, where kids, 10-year-old kids, are introduced to sex because they live in the same room with their parents. You know, those are the people who are firing my desire to drive this housing agenda, because those kids deserve better than we are giving them today. Those people in informal settlements deserve better from a government. And that is why you asked me about the consequence of my statement. That is why when I handed over the first keys on this program to my dear sister here, Jerusha, I said it and I meant it. It was actually the most consequential day in my political career, because we started to change the trajectory on how Kenyans live. And so that's why this moment is very important. And that's why I'm very proud that we are making these steps. And I must say that all the people who have talked to me, I listened to Susan Kehika. My dear sister, you made the statement I would have made. I mean, the understanding, I am very happy that from Susan to my CS to the country director, I mean, everybody, we are all appreciating what this is all about, you know? And therefore, this is a very important occasion for me and for us as a nation. And the progress we are making in this space speaks volumes about the kind of future we expect.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We shall revisit some of those aspects very shortly. But Your Excellency, you know, in this country, we've had people talk about shareholding. But right next to you is somebody who, I think when you talk about shareholding, the right shareholding is actually when you own something. And I don't think there is anything that beats owning your own home. And Jerusha, Your Excellency, as I said, first, she's a widow. I think the Bible and even the Quran, many scriptures talk about widows. And so when a widow cries to God, feeling forgotten, you know, and you see that moment where you had the privilege and that beats that moment. And so I want to ask Jerusha. She was homeowner number one. And a lot of Kenyans said at that time that those houses, the people who are occupying are not from Nakuru. So, and Your Excellency, I don't know whether you saw some stuff on the social media. They say that Jerusha is another lady from Kisii. So maybe she can tell us whether she oscillates from being in Kisii and being in Nakuru. But with all seriousness, Jerusha, kindly just share with us. And if you're comfortable, you uongee Kiswahili, hakuna shida. Asante.
Kwa majina ni yeye umesikia naitwa 001 Jerusha Muthoni. Mimi ndiye nilikuwa mtu wa kwanza kupewa nyumba na His Excellency na nikafurahia sana. Nafikiri mlikuwa mnaona kwa picha pahali nilitolewa kwa slums, kwa kanyumba kalikuwa mvua ikinyesha ilikuwa ni bara. Lakini kwa sasa hata mkiniangalia kwa ile picha vile nilikuwa nakaa sio vile nakaa saa hii. Si ni kweli? Nilikuwa kama hivi. Lakini within 3 weeks mnaona niko na utofauti. So hii mambo ya affordable housing ni ukweli, sababu mimi niko na hiyo ushuhuda. Nilipewa hiyo nyumba pale pahali tulikuwa tunaishi, maji saa hii pahali ninaishi maji ni mingi na si ya kununua. Pale tulikuwa tunanunua maji shilingi 10 mtungi. Niko na familia ya watu 9. Ni maji ya pesa ngapi naweza nunua? Ilikuwa ni shinda, ndio unaona sasa ninaoga kwa siku mara 2 ama mara 3. Ndio unaona kauso kameng'aa hivyo, watoto wanafurahia sana. In fact hata tule tushosho nilikuwa nimeacha pale, tumehama tu wote, wamesema pale wakai. Hata ukituma katoto kakikatuambia tunarudi pale, nasema hapana nitume, sababu hataki kurudi Misri. So mimi ninafurahia sana, na hata wale watu wanasema rais anatembea na mimi Kisii, ametembea na mimi Kisumu, nikipika samaki, ni uongo mtupu. Ni wale watu wanajaribu kupinga hii mradi, lakini haitustui. Tunasema kazi bila break, sababu alituambia anataka kuinua wale watu wako chini, awainue bottom up. Na ni ukweli, mimi nimeinuliwa, nimetolewa chini, niko juu, na ninadhani pando nitaendelea nikiinuliwa. Pale tuko pale, security ni tight. Pale hata kuna parking, mkikuja kuna pale pa kupark. Your Excellency, pia hata nataka unimbaie kagari niwe nikipaki pale. Niwe mtu wa kwanza kupaki kagari pale. Parking iko sawa, kila kitu iko sawa, so kazi iendelee bila break.
You can have a conversation with her, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Jerusha. It is true. Vile na kuona leo kidogo iko tofauti. Sijui ni kwa sababu gani, lakini Mungu ni mwema. Na sio Jerusha peke yake. Tuko na wananchi wengi. Lilian hapa ambaye ni community health promoter. Just a simple person. She's also a homeowner in Homa Bay, I think. In Nakuru. We have, many people who are experiencing life-changing situations because of where they were and where they are today. Jerusha here has told you, in the Nakuru slums, 3, 4, 5 families share a toilet that you have to pay to use a toilet. People, just imagine yourselves in a situation. Umekazwa hapo, you want to use a toilet and you don't have money, and there are people who are asking us, who told you to build houses? Surely, people, let us be human. We have real situations that call on us to do something about. Jerusha hapa, kabla hatujaongea vile nitakununulia gari. Bado niko na watu wengi pale ulitoka Mkuru, hawajahama. That is my first assignment. Wale wako Mkuru pale hawajakuwa kama wewe, hiyo ndio kazi yangu ya muhimu kwanza. Na sio Mkuru peke yake, you know, tuko na watu hapa Karagita, tuko na watu Bahati, tuko na watu many parts of Kenya. We have 1,000, I think 100 and something informal settlements in Kenya. 7 million people live in Kuala in our country, you know, and the numbers are going down, are not going down, the numbers are going up because more and more people are coming into cities, and we must prepare and we must, you know, work ahead of time to make sure they don't come and join those in informal settlements. They come into organized, livable cities. And so, Jerusha, tuliongea wakati nilikuwa kwako. Wewe umepata kujua tofauti kati ya mahali ulikuwa naishi na mahali unaishi sasa.
Yes.
Ndio. Mimi naamini ya kwamba ungependa wale wanaishi vile ulikuwa unaishi zamani, vile vile wapate nafasi ya kupata nyumba vile wewe ulipata. Ni kweli ama si kweli?
Ni kweli. Hata wamenisumbua saa hii, hata wale walikuwa napinga mradi wakinitusi wanashindanga kwangu. Hata naoshanga nyumba jioni. Juu kila dakika ni ukweli, wanakuja kuhakikisha. Nafikiri hata ukiangalia kwa TikTok wengi wanakuja kupiga picha na mimi. Juu wengi walikuwa nasema nilinyang'anywa, president alikuwa anatudanganya, Mama Jerusha amenyang'anywa vitu. So watu wanakuja kila siku, sasa wamekubali, sasa wananisumbua, tutajaza namna gani, tutapata nyumba namna gani. So ni ukweli, ninaomba pia na wao wakuje juu wamenisumbua sana.
Okay, so and it is important for me to say this, to contextualize what Jerusha is saying. We have a pipeline of 700,000 housing units. We have the first 2,300 have been given out. Another 11,000 are in the stage of completion. We will be handing out keys. When I come to Nakuru, for example, in the next month or two, the houses in Molo are ready. The houses in Bahati are ready. I will be coming to do groundbreaking for the houses outside here in Karagita, because it is my intention that the people living in the slum here in Karagita must equally benefit from this program the same way Jerusha is benefiting. As I go to Molo in Nakuru here, I will also be launching the construction of 2,700 housing units in Kasarani. And for your information, I have been to Kasarani in Molo. It is, let me just say, it's not a good place, because you have people living in very difficult conditions. And I must thank the leadership of Nakuru, the governor here, the member of parliament. You know, they are also transformational leaders. They have provided leadership. We have got land that we are now going to build those houses, and shortly we will transform Kasarani, the slum, into a place of dignity. And we will continue to do this, because this is one thing I signed for as president, and I must do it. I must go out of my way to do it. And I'm very happy that there is progress. I'm very encouraged by people like Jerusha. You know, they fire my passion, because ukiona mtu ambaye maisha yake imebadilika, it validates the dream of affordable housing in our country. We have 150,000 housing units under construction. Our job will be every month, we will be giving out the houses that are ready. As I have told you, we have 700,000 in the pipeline. And as Alice said, we are continuously looking for pieces of land where we can do more housing units. We are working with counties. Very many county governments are now stepping forward to work with us on this. And as we do all this, it has to be wholesome. Mumesikia Cherusha amesema iko parking. Atakwambia pia hapo kutakuwa na shule. Pale kutakuwa na soko. Pale kutakuwa na hospitali. Kwa sababu housing is not just 4 walls and a roof. Housing, according to the UN, and I have the UN representative here, when you talk about adequate housing, it comes with many things. It must give dignity, it must be sustainable, it must be livable. And that's why roads are necessary, social infrastructure is necessary, hospitals are necessary, schools and markets. And we will continue to engage with stakeholders so that they can understand why this is necessary. Sindio? Taka soko.
Tunataka soko na hata shule iko karibu kuisha. So that term watoto watakuwa hapo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving along, Excellency, what I'm going to do now is, before I move to the conversation about the other impact this program has had on jobs, allow me to ask Lillian to introduce herself quickly. Then I will also give our sister, the corporal, Chief Inspector Judy Nyathira, to also say something. And then I will also ask Maureen and Disa to just introduce themselves, because she's a homeowner. You move in Nakuru. And Your Excellency, our men and women in uniform, they dedicate their lives to serve this country. And we owe them a duty of care, because majority of them live in very bad conditions. So I'm very happy that we have got Chief Inspector Judy here representing all the men and women in uniform. And we want to say that we have got a lot of police housing, military housing. I think in 2 weeks' time, you'll be launching 10,000 houses for the military. We have about 27,000 for the police. So I just want them to just quickly introduce themselves, and then just you can have a conversation with them. So let's start with Lillian. Just a brief introduction about yourself, then with Maureen, and then we will have the Chief Inspector.
God is good.
All the time.
And all the time. Our Excellency President Dr. William Samoei Ruto and all protocol observers. My name is Lillian Simiyu. I'm a community health promoter attached to Nakuru Health Center. I'm a mother of 3, and I'm a beneficiary of SEPU. SEPU is a slum upgrading program. I'm a homeowner, and Mr. President, we say thank you. Thank you very much for giving us dignity. Asante sana.
Okay. Yes, Maureen.
Bwana asifiwe. Kwa majina anaitwa Maureen Adisa, mimi natoka Soweto na mimi ni kiongozi pale Soweto na tuko pale kwa mradi. Kwa hivyo mimi niko pale kwa mradi kila siku asubuhi, jioni pia nikitoka lazima nihakikisha nimeangalia hizo nyumba zinajengwa vizuri, so that ningoje ukuje unipatie. Yes.
So yeye ako on the queue, ametuharakisha, amesema hizi za Nakuru zimeenda haraka kuliko zao. So hapa like Soweto tutamaliza. Chief Inspector Judy.
Your Excellency, sir, Dr. Samoei Ruto, all protocols observed. Good afternoon. My name is Chief Inspector Judy Nyathira, a proud owner of the affordable housing in Bondeni within Nakuru. Your Excellency, sir, I want to thank you on behalf of the men and women in police uniform, for not leaving us behind out of this project. The history goes a long way, how the police live from time immemorial in sharing, using a curtain, and you're sharing a house with your counterpart, no privacy, and a lot of issues going in there. From there, we were given a permission not to live in police lines and to go and rent houses outside. Your Excellency, that was a good step. But again, this is the greatest, where you're renting to own your own home. I'm proud that I've been in my home for more than a year, where I'm assured of my safety. In case I'm going to work outside, I know my family is okay. Social amenities, they're perfect. Water running all through, the lighting system, enough space, a place for children to play, and they can feel the comfort and they can feel living like any other civilian out there. So I must appreciate that it is a good step. All civil servants should go for it because it is changing lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, maybe you can just have a quick word.
You know, I have no words. You know, listening to my sister here, Lillian, you know, as CHP, community health promoter, you know, the dedicated service that community health promoters do around Kenya, and that she's, through the process, she's now a homeowner with her children, is dignifying. It is a moment of pride, not just for her, but for us as a nation, that we can look after the people who not necessarily would have a chance to own a home. She now has a chance because of affordable housing. And in her space now, Lillian, where are your kids school going? Are you?
They are still at Nakuru. They're schooling at Nakuru. Yes.
So you want us to complete the school soon?
Kindly, like the school thing should be a priority, because I've noticed that watu wengi hata hawajaingia because of the school. Because unaona hiyo kucommute within Ruben to Nakuru, it's a bit far, and it's expensive also for us. So if you can do a school for us, Your Excellency, we'll be very proud.
Very good.
And
how far are we with the school, Charles?
The one we agreed, the ECD, which we will use as the primary school, you had directed us that in 1 month time, it be completed, and it is being completed.
Very good.
So in 1 month time, they should
So
be.
Lillian, just bear with me a few more weeks, and then your kids will be safe in your neighborhood.
I'll be very, very happy. And
Thank
also the market, sir.
There are people who have a problem with me putting up a market. Can you please make a case for me to put up the market?
Me, I will. We have seen the containers, they are already there, but now their location and stuff, hatujaona bado, Mr. President. And the market is very, very far. Yes.
So you need the market within the development.
Everything, all the amenities.
Very good.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Listening to Maureen, you know, we are developing the first 4,000 units in Soweto. We have, I think, a total of 25,000 units that will be built in that space.
Correct.
And we have done, the 4,000 units hopefully will be ready, and I've given instructions to my team, Alice here and Hinga, that by January we should be able to give out the first 4,000 units.
Yes,
and then the other units are following. So huyu mama umesikia amesema anachungulia kila wakati akipita hapo, nataka kuangalia hii nyumba itaisha lini, kwa sababu anangojea.
Yes.
Sasa vile niliwaeleza, sitaki Maureen angoje sana. Ndio amekuja hapa nafikiri kuniambia niharakishe mambo.
Yes.
So Maureen, nilikuwa hapo juzi hapo Soweto. I think like 3 weeks ago I was in Soweto. And nataka uwaeleze wale watu wa Soweto. Mimi nawaheshimu sana. Wakati niliona yani watu wa Soweto wanaishi pale, wanakuja wenyewe kusema wacha niandike jina yangu, mimi niko tayari kuondoka mahali ninaishi hapa, nyumba ikiwa tayari mimi nitarudi. You know, that kind of cooperation that citizens themselves are saying, I am ready to leave where I am staying, to go and live elsewhere. And I want my name recorded so that when the houses are complete, I come back and live in a decent house. Waambie wale watu wa Soweto, Mungu atawabariki sana, kwa sababu ya kukubaliana na sisi, kusema ya kwamba mahali wanaishi wako tayari kuhama, tuwajengee nyumba mzuri, nyumba ile iko na dignity, wawache kuishi mahali ambapo hakuna barabara, hakuna maji, hakuna stima, hakuna choo, hakuna mambo yote ambayo mnahitaji. So ukirudi tafadhali utawaambia nimewapigia salute. Utafanya hivyo Maureen? Alafu naona uko na maneno na mimi.
Niko na maneno na wewe, nataka tu ku-appreciate kwa hii mradi yenye umeleta. Sisi yetu itakuwa tofauti kwa sababu pale sisi tuko na shule, sisi tuko na market, sisi tuko na place ya kupumzika ukifikiria mafikirio yako ya maisha. Yani we just can't wait to be in that estate. So mi wanga niko very eager kabisa. Though kuna watu wanaweza kuwa wanaongea mambo mingi ati utapata nyumba, lakini us we believe that we are the owners na tunataka ku embrace kabisa hii mradi, and that's why tukikuja last time after 3 weeks kila mtu alikuwa anataka, kwa sababu anaona mradi nyumba inasonga, and everybody wants to be an owner of the house in Nairobi. So furaha yetu ni tutoke kwa hiyo mabanda zetu, kwa sababu kama hata sasa niko hapa lakini niko na wasiwasi because lately tumekuwa na breakages za moto. So sasa hata nafikiria naweza rudi tena nipate kanyumba kangu kamechomeka. So afadhali tutoke kwa hiyo situation ya life yenye tumekuwa tuishi kwa dignity houses. So kama hii ni dream yako ulikuwa nao kutoka ukue kijana, His Excellency, endelea bila break.
Sana. And you know, I think the passion that everybody, you know, owning a home is the ultimate passion of any citizen. You know, that you have a place that you call yours, you know. And on to what Judy, and I apologize, Judy, because my peers here have said corporal. Corporal is you are a very senior person. But titles aside, I was very proud when I came to Bondeni, and you welcomed us to your home with your family, and it was a very proud moment. And not just Judy, you know, our men in uniform, men and women in uniform, for decades lived in conditions that do not befit the kind of sacrifice they make for us. They keep our families safe, they keep our country safe, they go out of their way to make sure that there is law and order in our country, and yet we don't reciprocate. It is the reason why we are implementing several programs targeting our men in uniform, men and women in uniform, improving their terms and conditions of service, which we are on course, making sure that we assist them with the modernization of their equipment, which we are on course. We have already spent about 9 billion shillings in that process. And of course, making sure that they are part of our housing program. And as PS has said, we have rolled out specific housing targeting our uniformed officers. 27,000 houses are being built for the police, 10,000 houses are being built for the prisons, 20,000 housing units. I'll be launching 10,000 next week for the military. And we are looking at making sure that our men and women in uniform have a place to call home. And Judy here is one such example. And maybe just so that I put it in my own perspective, Judy, as you look at your colleagues, is there anything that you think we can do better now that you have a 1-year experience in living in your own home? Do you think there are areas of improvement that you can suggest to me?
Your Excellency, most of my colleagues are willing to acquire these houses. But one problem, maybe the challenge they have is financial support. Maybe if they could be given an opportunity because they've overcommitted their payslip, maybe they could be given a facility where they're given, which is flexible, they're loaned some amount so that they can be able to acquire the houses. The financial aspects are.
So you're talking about the mortgage.
Yes.
And we have, can you talk about the mortgage, Hinga, speaking to what Judy has said?
So, Your Excellency, a couple of things. What makes the issue of affordability a few things. One is the cost of land. There is a study by the Center for Affordable Housing in Africa that shows Nairobi has the most expensive land in the continent of Africa. But also, Your Excellency, in our country, we also have a lot of inequalities in terms of earning. A majority of Kenyans earn very little. So you have a situation where the cost of land is very high and you have got very low income. And that leads to the proliferation of slums. Now, to address that, you have got to look at what you call the demand side of housing and supply side. Now, allow me to start with supply, which is you have got to do something on the cost of land. And that is why, Your Excellency, through your leadership, we have zero-rated the cost of land. Land is a big barrier to ownership. So when you start a conversation by saying that you will not pay for the land, it's a big stride into one's home ownership. The second thing, Your Excellency, is the cost of construction. Cost of construction is prohibitive. And part of the reason why cost of construction is prohibitive is because on one side, you have got factors you cannot control. You know, global pricing for fuel, cement, and so on and so forth. But there are others we can control. The ones that you can control, for example, in our sector, VAT, and I hope I'm not going to get very complicated, VAT is what is called a real cost. Because when you build a house and you sell, there is no output tax, but there is input in the material. So in other words, when you buy cement, the cement comes in with VAT, the bag of cement. But you're not able to offset with an output because there is no output. So essentially, the cost of VAT goes straight to the buyer. Through your leadership, you have said that we zero rate the input taxes, which is also brought down affordable. In fact, it has reduced the cost of construction by 10%. The other one, Excellency, is the issue of public funding. We know that one of the reasons why Kenyans were fought so hard is because, we have not covered ourselves in glory. We have built projects at very high cost. You said from the beginning that one of the areas that we have to bring in trust to the people is cost. And what you did, you called 7 institutions. You called in Nairobi University, you called in Technical University of Kenya, you called in Kenyatta University, AAK, which is the Associate of Architects, IQSK of QSs, IEK, you had National Construction Authority, and you had National Housing Corporation. And you asked them to design for you a house and to give you a market cost. Your Excellency, I want to confirm that since we started this program, we actually have fixed the cost of the unit. So, and it is determinable, and anybody who wants to construct, there is no seeing the PS on the side, we disclose the price of that. What that has done, Your Excellency, is that it has meant that today there is a social housing unit that costs 640,000 shillings. Now, when you talk about 640,000, people can afford. The World Bank here, Your Excellency, did a study in 2017, which is titled Unaffordable and Unavailable. In that study of 2017, it showed that the average cost of a house in Nairobi was 11 million. So you've moved from 11 million to 640. That is a significant difference. That's why you have Jerusha and Lillian here who are homeowners today. Then, Your Excellency, you have the demand side. The demand side is about the cost of financing Kenyans. Your Excellency, before this program, and we have been having a high interest rate regime. Interest rates for people who had homes reach even 20%. Under your program, you have got 3 interest rate regimes. You have got a social housing, which is 3% fixed. So even if in 10 years, the interest rates in the country goes to 30, this person will still be paying 3%. It is fixed. The other one is affordable housing, which is 6%, again fixed. And then for everybody else who is in the market units like myself and anybody else who is interested, it is at 9%. So the most expensive mortgage you will get is at 9%. The last part is the tenure, the how long you pay. Now, in this country, Your Excellency, we've not had long-term mortgages. Again, through that study from the World Bank, it showed that the average tenure of a house was 7.5 years. So if you have got expensive land, expensive construction amount, which leads to 11 million, in expensive interest rate, that's why, Your Excellency, for a country of 50 million Kenyans, you have only 30,000 mortgages. So those things don't happen by accident, they happen because the system is broken. So what you have done is we have reduced all those things. So what does that translate to? It translates to Jerusha paying 2,800 shillings for her house. This is the same amount of money that she was paying for that shack. She also pays service charge and pays for insurance. So anything that happens to that house, she is covered. So the total amount that she's paying is 3,800. That is how much she's paying to be a homeowner. And that is what she was paying for a shack. Then you have got Chief Inspector Judy, who we give them allowances for our police. They get about 9,000 shillings on average. Obviously it differs. At 9,000, Your Excellency, she can now afford to get our 2-bedroom housing unit, which is around that same amount. So this program, Your Excellency, has got something for everybody. It would have been easy if you had said, let's just deal for the high income. But whether you're in the slum, whether you are selling Mama Mboga, you start from 2,800, you go all the way to 15,000 for a 3-bedroom, which has got all the amenities, Your Excellency. It has got electricity, it has water, it has gas, it has internet.
I think contextualize this for Judy and our men and women in uniform and other Kenyans who are looking at this product. When we said that it will be possible to own a home and pay 3,800, people thought we were mad. In fact, many people were wondering, because it has never happened in Kenya. People know if you want to own a home, the average home in Kenya was 11 million. You needed 40, 50,000 to be able to own a simple home. Today, Jerusha here, Lillian there, are homeowners. They pay 3,800. You know, it doesn't look real, but that's what it is. Why? Because of the 4 factors Charles has said. Number 1, we brought the cost of land to 0. That was contributing 30% of the cost of the house. We've reduced taxes. We've taken away 10% of what the house used to cost. We have brought down the cost of construction. You know, we were building houses for 80,000 shillings a square foot. Under affordable housing and social housing, under this program, as Charles told you, we sat down with many institutions, and I was very clear to them that we do not have money to throw around. Let us cut to the chase. We came up with 42,000 shillings per square foot. Many contractors told us it is not possible to do houses at that rate. The houses are coming up. We have 150,000 under construction because it is doable. And the commitment I made to the people of Kenya is that as they contribute to the housing levy, as they contribute their housing levy, it is my responsibility to make sure that that money is not wasted, is not stolen, is not abused, and there is no corruption, and they get value for it. And that is my commitment. And I have told Alice here, and I have told Charles here, that if